Earthlight Podcast, where you have the host Siena.
And I'm Senna.
And we're going to be talking about lots of awesome things today. And it only feels right to say that the Leo moon vibes for us Leos. We've decided to do a solo cast for that reason. So Senna's going to tell you what we're talking about today.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about taking the reins of your life, tuning into your soul's purpose, and living from a place of spiritual alignment. So that brings up a lot of questions. What is spiritual alignment? What does it mean to act or live in alignment? How do we find alignment? And as Sienna just said, in honor of our Leo full moon that we had last Thursday, and you got two Leos here, we want to share a bit about ourselves, and we really resonate with this topic because all of what we're doing and showing up with this podcast and with Earthlight Cafe and our connections that we're creating and co-creating with our divinity, we are truly on our own path of finding our soul's purpose and alignment. And we hope to share a bit more about our journey, and you can learn more about Sienna and myself.
Yes.
So I'll give a quick energy update. As Sienna just mentioned, we had a full moon in Leo last week. We're going to have our new moon in Aquarius next week.
Yes.
And so yeah, our Leo full moon last week is all about, a lot of things kind of came up for myself, and I know some things were stirred up with you too, and other people, especially with Leo dominating sign in their moon or sun. But it comes back to, are you following your heart? What's not in alignment here? And maybe there are some things that felt like have been shaken up, or maybe something that came to your attention that you need to prioritize, and listen to that. And we'll be talking a lot more about specifically that, about what is in alignment, how do we put those things in priority. So that was last week. Moving forward, we just entered Mercury retrograde this past weekend. So Mercury is now in we're in Mercury retrograde in Aquarius for the next few weeks until February 20th. So what's that mean? It's helping us to rethink the future, reframe how we speak and think about ourselves. This is a purge and an upgrade of the throat chakra. And some good news, it's not going to be as intense as the Mercury retrogrades of 2020, since
Yay!
because we had some other bigger planetary influences on those. But there still might be some cloudiness, maybe some information that's not fully there, and some conflicts or things that are coming up in your situation or field. And so things will clear up after February 20th. Also, Venus is moving into Aquarius, which is opening up to a new way of love. A really beautiful era that we're experiencing, and now Venus is in Aquarius this week. So a thing that I recommend is any energy clearings that you can do will significantly help with helping you to, and with setting an intention too, of being able to receive a greater love and be able to invite and bring in that incredible abundance. So, what is spiritual alignment? I'm going to let Sienna answer that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You did a lot of chatting. What is spiritual alignment? Well, I like what you wrote, so I'm going to read it off a little bit and then carry on. It's a union of your physical and metaphysical self. It's when we are in alignment, we are able to manifest. Oof. Yes. A spiritual alignment to me means that you're in tune with your intuition. This word's been coming up a lot for me recently, so I'm just going to continue the pattern. We hear intuition a lot, but I don't think that most of us actually take genuine time to realize how important intuition is in our day-to-day lives. And I think when we are truly aligned with that piece of ourselves, which is part of your chakras, that's when you begin to kind of flow with life. There's so much more flow because you're not having your ego be like, what are you doing? What are you doing over there? Why aren't you doing that? Hey, stop. What are you doing? You know? Instead, it's like, yeah, okay, I'll go that way. That feels right. Oh, I'm gravitating this way now. Okay. And it's a lot more flow. So I feel like spiritual alignment, even though it sounds rigid and linear, it's actually a very fluid motion.
I love that you bring that up.
Yeah, cool.
I love that.
What about you, my dear?
Yeah. Taking some time and just going inward. This is actually part of my answer. Is and I'll dive more into about how I assess that within myself when I share a bit about my journey of my soul's purpose and my own findings of alignment. But I think it's a day-to-day, it's a moment-to-moment thing. It's not just like, I've cleansed all my chakras and I'm good and I'm enlightened forever. What's up? No, it's not like that. It's those are great little glimmers of, getting to experience that. But being on this planet, a place of incredible duality that we get to experience, it's not always like that. So, yeah, so I feel for spiritual alignment for me, I wrote down on these notes that it's a union of my physical and metaphysical self. It's when I bring in my body and my mind and my spirit, and I'm checking in with my heart, and it's when a moment or a decision or the way I think or a particular action that I have to make, it feels, I don't want to say in alignment, but it is in alignment. It feels like almost like the clear next right choice. And I throughout my journey, I found that when I'm out of alignment, usually things are more dense or sticky, or I love confusing. Yeah, I love this analogy. Like years ago, I kept on feeling like the universe was hitting me in the head with a coconut.
Over and over again.
Like on Mario Kart, there's this one track, and it's like the Donkey Kong track.
Yeah.
And whenever you fall off course, you get hit with a coconut, and the coconut keeps pushing you back on course.
I remember that.
Yeah. It's a very pixelated coconut. You're not sure if it's a coconut or not, but it's a coconut. I'm pretty sure. And what I love about this particular analogy is that's how I feel sometimes with life, is like when I'm not in the flow of things, or when I'm trying to control or make something go my own way, or when I feel like I'm waking up and I'm walking up river. I'm like I'm going the path of like most resistance.
Yeah.
That's when certain things happen, I've noticed, where I get hit in the head with a coconut.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a perfect analogy.
Thanks. Yeah. And what I see with that is I trust that my soul is guiding me to where I need to be, and trying to help me find my path of alignment. And my particular belief is that as everything on this planet, everything is ascending. We're all ever moving. We're all ever changing. And the whole purpose and point is essentially ascension, and to become a greater and evolve more and becoming better and better person or
Beings.
being or whatever that you are.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature that we see. Like a seed that is planted, it continues to grow and grow and grow until it blooms.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that with humans and animals, and it's everything is growing to become its greatest version of itself.
But the only way you can do that is if you're constantly working on that spiritual alignment.
Yeah. And then if you...
I mean, you can do it the other way. It's just way harder.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly getting hit by the coconut.
Well, we won't talk about karma and coming back again. Well, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, we'll keep that to another show.
Anyway. Yeah, so I guess we kind of touched on it a little bit. So what does it mean to act or live in alignment?
What does it mean to actually live in alignment? Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to, right? Answer that question while you're answering spiritual alignment, because what we're speaking about is our own experiences of living in a spiritual alignment, right?
Yeah.
And like we were talking about before we got on this podcast, everybody's experience is going to be different. So if you don't align with what we're saying, there's nothing wrong with that. You may need to do something physical. I just recently learned that men, and I totally agree with this by just experience, so there's that as well, that men, most of the time, not saying this all the time generally, are more physical with their spiritual alignments, right? They have to do physical things externally to feel in alignment, which is probably why you have a friend or a partner or somebody that's like, I need to do, and go do this and do that. And that makes them feel the most happy and aligned and flow. Whereas women, again, generally speaking, are more inward. We're like, what can we do to work on ourselves inwardly? And what is it that we need to change and alter and all that jazz? So I think when it comes to what does it mean to act or live in alignment, everybody's going to be slightly different. So what it means to me, I'll go ahead and say, is like living in alignment means that I'm checking in with myself every day, and I give that time in the morning before I've been affected by any external circumstances, not saying I'm perfect on this, to say, hello body, where are you at today? What's going on? And check off those boxes in my head of like, okay, my heart's feeling a little heavy today. Why is that? Is that something I just need to like feel and move through, or is there something deeper that I need to like work on even deeper? And same thing with like pain. If you're a person that has chronic pain, it's like, okay, how are you today? What do you need from me today? Is today something that we need to just take it slow and do like stretching, a lot of icing or whatever it may be? Or is today like a really good day? And I think that that's really important for me personally to help me live in spiritual alignment.
Yeah. I just wanted to touch on as well that in regards to what you were saying earlier about men versus women, I want to touch also that if you're even depending, depending on
gender fluid,
gender fluidity, non-binary, everyone has their own experiences.
Yes.
So even if you are female bodied but identify as more masculine, yes, or non-binary, yeah,
and that's why I was trying to make sure I said like this is a generality.
Yeah, you totally did.
For sure, make sure that you know that like we are down with whatever you want to feel, babe. Like you do you. Mm-hmm. But it just seems to be a pattern for most. Yeah.
Of the collective.
Yeah.
Heard. I love that. So I'm gonna kind of answer that when I jump into a little bit about my story.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my background. So I am born and raised in Washington. I followed a path of going to school and getting a degree and busting my bottom off in regards to I've kind of always been a bit of like a workaholic. I would have 2 to 3 jobs at a time plus going to school. I'm not kidding. I've once worked at 3 jobs. Dang. And going to school at the same time. Wow. It reflected in my grades pretty poorly. Yeah, I have a dad that is very physical, security, financially minded, and grateful for this teacher in my life because it has brought a lot of lessons. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. But yeah, I've had a big push and influence from him in particular, especially being a child that of 2 other sisters, and looking back at my childhood over the past couple of years, I've been able to see the tendencies and the kind of the survival techniques that I've learned in regards to having to overcompensate myself or compete in order to receive love or praise, and so I've realized that's part of my nature is since I've been working on peeling those layers since of essentially where what are those essentially beliefs that I've taken on from my parents? What are those um, kind of childhood uh, conditions that are bleeding now into my adulthood um, that no longer serve me anymore? And I've been realizing what beliefs specifically around like security and money and um, that I no longer believe in. And I think I am going to bring this up actually. It's coming to me, and I feel like Spirit wants me to say this. So, um, something that I believe in is that we as energetic beings, our beliefs are so potent, they are so powerful. So, when you believe a particular thing, and there's hundreds of thousands of other people that believe this particular thing too, what you're doing essentially, it's almost like an extension cord coming from your being, and it's plugging into this collective consciousness. And all the more people and or beings that plug into this particular way of thinking or a particular belief style becomes its own essentially collective consciousness, because collectively we're putting a consciousness there. And so what's part of alignment, and for me, I really like the chakra system. I I think it's a really wonderful visualization, interpretation, and when I meditate, I'm able to see my chakras and work with my colors. Um, and going back to everyone has their own unique way of being able to perceive and understand spirit or their own beliefs. This might be totally different from you. And what's so cool is Carolyn Myss is an incredible author and speaker and teacher. She's a medical intuitive, and she talks about essentially the energy anatomy. And I'd love to share more about her, but not at this time. But I will put some links about her in the description below. And what's really incredible is she has taken the time to essentially observe the chakras and compared it with Judaism and compared it with lineages of Catholicism. And that is so there's perfect parallels across essentially these three um, belief systems. And so going back to
you continue.
All right. So going back to everyone has their own way of being able to interpret things. Um, this is an incredible particular interpretation for myself. So I will note that I have a child that should be napping right now, and he just hopped out of his crib. So that's where Siena's going for the moment to help me put him back. So back to the chakras. For me, I learned the chakra system when I was taking my yoga teacher trainings, and that was something that really worked for me. And just a quick overview. So a chakra is essentially a wheel of light, and there's seven. There's actually more. There's way more. But the seven that we mostly embody in regards to our physical metaphysical form is our root, which is really around security and making sure you're safe and being a part of the tribe. The sacral, which is at the base of your spine, your sacral chakra, which is around your creation and your sensuality, and this is in essentially your abdomen area, and also your just kind of like your lower, just below your navel. And then your solar plexus, a major place of emotional processing, your ego, experiences of humility, and your power is in your, just below your chest. What would you call that? Sacral.
Sacral.
Sacral. No, that's sacral. Solar plexus.
Solar plexus, sorry.
And then your heart being where you experience love and your greater emotions and harmony. And this is essentially your portal to really the spirit and love and God, and understanding
others.
And understanding that there's a greater truth and oneness with everyone. And then your throat chakra, being able to speak and communicate your truth coming from your heart. And your third eye, you're just below, or just above your eyes and your forehead. And this is really about seeking truth and greater, higher wisdom. And then your crown chakra at the top of your head, around the crown, your connection with divinity and your guides, your source, light, and also a place of essentially removing perceptions of right and wrong. So I bring this up because I've learned over time that I've grown out of essentially the tribe mentality, this more denser, lower frequency, and I've learned that in regards to my security, I stray away from the beliefs of the herd. I stray away from the beliefs of these other collectives that no longer resonate for me. And so part of that was I grew up Catholic, and I realized that did not serve me and didn't answer the questions or feel right for me, and didn't make me feel connected to God. And so I had left the church when I was about 16, and felt just a lot of separation and anger and sadness and a lot of trauma from the church as well. And so I went a few years of really struggling to know who I was and where I was and what I believed in, and also had and carried a lot of anger and resentment. And in my 20s, I had just graduated from college. I got into a job. I was working about 60 to 70 hours a week. I was beginning to have severe health problems, adrenal fatigue. My body was just in a constant state of just that fight or flight mode, and I had just severe anxiety and self-judgment, and just crippling panic attacks, and then went through some times of depression and really considering about taking my life. And it wasn't until I was about 22 that I realized that if I continued working at this particular job, I had to, um, I, I wouldn't survive. Like my body was in such a way that I realized that I needed to do something. Something needed to change, and so I took about a year off, and I was able to essentially find yoga, and I found that yoga and art. I became an art teacher, became a yoga teacher. Was something that called to me, and I found that there was this like thirst, this like unfillable quench for learning more about um, yoga and about meditation, about Buddhism, about Taoism. And I started just researching Eastern philosophies and kind of found my way all the way back around in my 20s back to the church, actually. And I don't believe that I am religious, but I have found my way back to Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and have found just a whole new breadth of love for the teachings of Christianity. And so, anyway, I bring up this whole story because this has been there's been some dark days, but then there's also been some really incredible days where I've been able to find a greater peace, and it's like my soul has been pulling me along, and I've had to see essentially a greater lens. I had to see those dark times, and I've had to see the high times in order to make that bridge of essentially what my soul's purpose is here to do. I feel like, and this is just coming to me now actually, that I've had to have all of those experiences to be a bridge between our old world and our new world. Our new world of essentially bringing in light. And 2020 has been a year where I had another awakening, an awakening of remembering. I don't know. It's like my light work has been just automatically turned on, and it's this full-time job that happens in the dark, and it's become like, I don't know, just this whole other second nature. Um, so coming back to, I guess, alignment, um, in day to day, I found that it's when I listen to the subtleties, this like quiet whisper within myself. It kind of seems like it comes from my heart. Um, Sometimes I hear words, sometimes I see images, sometimes I just feel elated. And when I think of a particular thing or place, or um, and I that's been kind of my way of tuning into myself and my soul. And it's taken time to trust that more and more, and trust that I I'm not a crazy person that hears voices. And it's been a huge process of essentially removing this old way of being from our ancestors, from our karmic collective consciousness, and from the fears of others, the projections of others, and realizing what is true and what is mine and what is my experience versus what is others. And as a psychic empath, that's been particularly a challenge. And um, I'll do a quick shout out for myself. I have for other star seeds, light workers, psychic empaths, I have some videos on our Earthlight Cafe podcast on my Senna's channel, about that I'll be posting. I'm still figuring out my cadence, to be totally honest. It was supposed to be every Sunday, but it's not the most feasible thing with the child and my work at the moment. But um, I'm going to be offering some more resources of energy regulation and tuning in. So if anything of my story resonates with you, I would love, for you to check out those additional resources if you feel called. And I mentioned earlier as well that those places, those times in my life where I feel density or I feel stickiness or heaviness, I've learned over time that that is actually not something to avoid. It's something that in that moment I need to take a breath and I need to check in. And sometimes I can feel it in my body, and I like to like maybe even touch with my hands and place my hands over where in my body that I'm experiencing that. Sometimes it can feel like I'm being kind of like a blockage in my throat, and it's something that I'm not saying or I'm holding back. And um, a few things that have been really helpful for me has been this chakra um, interpretation, of being able to understand where my blockages are, and in my chakras, and I've been able to work directly with those. And chakra clearings, meditation clearings, energy clearings, has been huge in regards to unraveling the noise of other people's thoughts, projections, beliefs, what's not mine. And and then lastly, the reason why I do these energy updates for every podcast is knowing what the planetary alignments and things that are happening is so helpful for me, because our planets and our solar system, as it's constantly evolving, these are incredible energies that we can use to uplift if we want to, or we don't have to. And it's a cycle, and it's a pattern that kind of happens on a normal, but the everything is different. I'm not going to say it's totally often, but um but these energies are incredible at being able to help us purge certain chakras or and upgrade our spirit. And things that get triggered that come up are meant to come up for a reason. Things that come up, your soul is telling you you're ready to do this and to heal this and to clear this. And so that's quite a bit more about my story. I since had actually just kind of from my 22 to now, I since actually had gone back to that job, and I now have a really great position, and I'm still currently working there, but it's under my own terms. And I'm noticing more and more that uh, this might be something that's falling out of alignment. I am also doing another job at the moment too, where I'm an office manager, and for a green home construction business. And this is something that brings actually greater purpose. I really feel happy and like I'm doing good with this particular work. And um, and then since I've had a child, and that was a growth spurt, and I've had some great teachers come into my life, um, that have really caused me to grow up and show up, and um, learn how to handle situations, life, in an aligned way.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's setting boundaries so that you can stay in your alignment. Um, I'm gonna leave it there. That was like 15 minutes.
That's okay. It's all right. Awesome.
So Sienna,
Yeah.
I would love to hear your story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
About your soul's journey, whatever you want to share, and how alignment shows up for you. And
yeah. So it's interesting. First off, I just want to comment on, I loved the bridge talk of, being able to see one spectrum of life scale to the other spectrum. So the really, really low lows to the really, really high highs, and how that bridge has allowed you to then be able to like view life better and also just be ready for different growths. And I do believe that that bridge is made out of tools. And I just want to specify on that. There are tools that you have learned that we all can learn if you feel discouraged right now. You are learning along the way.
Yeah.
It is not something that is going to happen overnight.
No.
It is years of practice and dedication and realizing that you are imperfectly perfect, and knowing that sometimes a step back doesn't mean anything negative, then it never means anything negative. What it means is that you need to refine that tool so you can step forward a couple more steps next time. And I just really wanted to emphasize that, because you just summed up a big chunk of your life in such a short period of time. And I don't want anybody else out there feeling like they won't be able to get to that point or that it's overwhelming or anything like that. Just take it one step at a time. Trust yourself, love yourself, accept yourself as is, and move from there. So there's that. That's part, honestly, that's one of the biggest things that I've learned in my growth. I came from a family where I was the oldest in the house, but I had an older sister that was my half sister out of the house that she would visit occasionally. So I had that energy, and then I had a best friend that was kind of like a sister. So we were all like this hodgepodge family. But I have a father and a mother that are quite the opposite, and I'm blessed to have gotten little tendencies from both of them, shadows and lights, that I feel very balanced with, as long as I am present and aware with those tendencies. Because as we all know, we can pick up tendencies that we don't really want of our parents as well. And that's okay as long as you recognize them and allow yourself to grow. I had religion when I was growing up. When I was a kid, I actually went to church. But once I turned about 8 or 9, we stopped going to church, and that was just because they became busy. And it's funny because my mother and father have such guilt about me not going to church later on. But I believe that it happened for a reason, because it allowed me to, before I started questioning things, it allowed me to detach from that strict mindset. And it opened the door more for me to be able to have flexibility with my belief and still have a relationship with God. And I did have a father that would always tell me that everybody is just trying their own way to make it with a relationship with God. Whatever way that may look is what they're supposed to be doing. And I firmly believe that as well. So, but God, for some reason, God was hard still for me to, when I was out of the house. It was a word that was sticky for me. And I didn't know why. And so when people would ask me what I am, who I was, what I believed in, I was like, well, I think I believe in God. Don't know about Jesus, maybe. And yeah, I'm working on that. So I was a little clueless, but I didn't have any bitterness, because I've always been, well, as the older sibling in the house, the stereotypical older sibling, I always was the positive outlooker, and I was always the one trying to like mediate and take care and fix. So of course I did the same thing for myself, but when I was younger, I had a lot of shame around fixing myself, because I thought that I needed to be perfect right then and there. And so I too went through, it was more body shaming, because I had a mother that had a lot of body shaming, and so it just bled onto me. And so I got really lost in my life, which I feel like this is really common for our younger 20s, because this is when we're trying to figure out ourselves and in the new world that we just got out of the nest, and you're not alone. Like, if you're feeling this way, it's so natural and normal. And just remember that the security of anybody around you, like those people are for you. You are not alone. Like, you are not alone. I just cannot emphasize that enough. And even when it feels like you are alone, then be alone, but love yourself in that moment. Hold yourself and be with yourself. Because if I was to go back and tell my younger self anything, that would have been it. It's okay if you feel alone. Allow yourself to. Because once I made that decision, like, I think the day was I wanted to go to a restaurant. I had made lots of money working, totally lost, not knowing what I'm doing with my life. And I was like, I want to go to Sherry's, but I have nobody to go with. And I was kind of in this self-pity mode, and I was so sad. And then all of a sudden, there was some voice in the back of my head that kicked me. Maybe it was the coconut that was like, no, go enjoy yourself. Go enjoy your hard-earned money and have a pie and some food at Sherry's while you read a book and enjoy your own company. Have that moment. And that was a changing point for me. Was all of a sudden like, yeah, I can enjoy my own company. This is okay to be alone. It's okay to be inward. And that's when I started to really heal. It was a long process after that. It was years of breakdowns and anxiety attacks and everything, because I didn't quite understand that I needed to allow myself to feel the bad feelings as well as the good feelings. Until the past couple years ago, and then I had some shifts and started healing. And once I realized, my fiance helped a lot. We've been together for 7 years, so most of my 20s. And there was his little voice in the back of my head that when I didn't believe in myself or I didn't see my worthiness, I was so blessed. I know that I'm rarity, and I'm so grateful for this. He would be like, you are worthy. You are special. You are amazing. Don't let anybody talk to you shitty. Like, that is not how shit goes. Excuse me for my stuff, but I don't think that's bad of a word. So, yeah, that was a really important turning point, was realizing that for myself after a while. Yeah. So the alignments have just come with little baby steps. And what I used to do is go really hardcore, hard shadow masculine, where I would just like try to spiritually be like, I'm going to go as hard as possible. I'm going to make it all the way to the top within 6 months. No problem.
Enlightened in 6 months.
That's right. And what would happen is I would get ahead of myself, not learn the actual lessons, not let them integrate and solidify, and I would fall back all the way back to the beginning. And that's why I make that point about the bridge, is because the reason I fell back all the way back to the beginning is because I didn't actually learn the tools to continue on. And so the universe was like, no, babe, time to start right over again. You didn't learn the point. The point was not made. And back then it felt so painful to my ego. It was like, what have I done wrong? And, I would go through that vicious cycle of like self-pity and anger and anxiety, and just feel like bad about myself for a really long time until something would snap. And then I would get back on the horse and be like, well, I've learned tiny tools, so I'll just start implementing those again. And I just started going slower. And once I started going slower and realizing I don't have anything to rush towards, things started to solidify. They started to ground, and they started to become actually part of my life instead of a phase. And I stopped bragging about it to my friends and family as much. It became more private, because for me, being a Leo, stereotypical Leo, and its shadow self, I was always bragging about anything I was doing that made me feel awesome.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It was like, look at me, look how awesome I'm doing. I'm feeling
so lovable.
Good. Yeah.
This is why you should love me.
And what I was doing, and what you probably were doing, was
Yeah.
trying to convince yourself that
Yep.
you were worthy of all that self-development.
The more you project it out, the more that person needs it
Yeah.
for themselves.
Yeah, and it wasn't working. And I think you know, I did a lot of self-development books, and finally I read a book that reminded me, don't tell anyone about it unless they're really close, like your fiance or really best friend you see all the time. Don't talk about it to anyone until you have talked to yourself about it and validated yourself, and don't feel like you need to tell anybody, that it's just going to come up organically. That is something I'm still learning with certain topics in my life, but I've absolutely excelled in, because yeah, that's a big part that changed. I was like, oh, I'm not doing this for anybody else. I'm only doing this for me. And so to quickly touch base on that, when it comes to circumstances, when it comes to things that are going on except outside of us, energy wise, those are important. And I do believe that it makes me feel less insane when I learned that, like, we're in Mercury retrograde and I'm feeling all wonky. But at the end of the day, you also have internal circumstances, and those are going to be more magnetized to like your situation than anything outside of you. So you can't go blaming the retrograde for your stuff, because there's something inside that you've triggered and you're not working on. So instead, go in and be like, why did it trigger? Now let's go inside and start aligning things within me. Yeah. And so that, I don't know about you, but when I'm grounded and aligned internally and feeling real good, and I'm in my summer season or something like that, it doesn't matter what's going on around me. I'm going to feel good. It's going to be boss, you know? So just remember that as well, that internal circumstances are really important. And that's really all that we have time for today, but I also feel good in closure. Oh, sure. Yeah.
What was the changing point to like now? Like the work that you're doing now?
I mean, I've had spiritual awakenings, and I had Kundalini awakening through last year, the last 2 years.
Yeah. Which has been incredible as a witness to watch.
Thank you. Yes. And she's been part of that journey, and it's been so great. And right now it's 222, just to let everybody know. So nice. 2 years, 222. 2 is our time. It's a confirmation. It has been beautiful, and that's probably it for me.
Yeah. 222 is the number, well, 2 is the number of service, faith, and love.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Yeah, that's probably been my changing point. I said yes one day. So instead of like limiting myself and telling myself I'm not worthy, and I just finally got to a place in my base that I felt comfortable to step out of my comfort zone. And once I took that step out of my comfort zone of all that stuff I've been reading for so long, once I took that to the actionable level of showing the new me, I guess. I know that's kind of stereotypical sounding, but that's what it felt like. Once I showed who I truly was, not new me, it was me all along, but I felt comfortable actually showing it to the world. Yeah. That was when things started to change. And that's when I started getting my spiritual awakenings. That's when I started doing energy stuff. That's when I felt more confident in the energy things that were going on within my body. And luckily I had you that had already gone through all that crap, and so I didn't have to like feel like I was crazy, because I had her and she was like already on her alignment. So yeah, that was probably.
I think you helped me with my awakening for becoming a starseed.
Aww.
I don't think I mean, I would have found it some other way, I'm sure, but yeah, you've definitely been key for me too.
That's why it's important to have very key people in your life, but you don't gotta go showboat to everybody. Just key people.
I love what you were speaking about in regards to how it's an internal process, and yeah, I so resonate with that too. And you know my painting called "The Tending to the Vulnerable Within."
I think so,
It's
but
the one in the middle.
yeah.
But essentially, I just see it as like it's this new little sprout in your heart.
Yes.
And it takes, some love and nurturing and nourishment and focus and to really grow that within yourself. And it's totally okay if you're not ready to show yourselves yet
Yeah.
to the world. And
Yeah.
because that can be a scary thing for sure. And it might take a little bit more growth internally before you get to that point of being able to share yourself. Honestly, I'm gonna start crying.
Oh.
No, yeah. You've been like someone that's been able to see me and allow me to fully come into myself to be able to express that more over the past year and a half of like our own spiritual growth and alignment and talks. And I'm so grateful. Yeah, I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. I receive that fully. I'm so grateful for you, and I feel the same. Yes. Very validating.
We are going to wrap up. I guess maybe just a few additional tips for alignment, and we'll talk about a few things there. But what I'm also going to include too is we're going to add on an audio either on this particular podcast or a separate one on also for our YouTube channel. I'm going to add an alignment of the chakras. So it's going to be a cleansing and a clearing, a purging, and we'll bring in some, whatever lights and templates and vibrations that your guides are ready to, and your higher self are ready to download. And so I'm going to include that. So I'll be recording that later. We'll wrap up here. So last couple tips for alignment. There is an incredible woman that Siena showed me, actually a couple that do and teach line activations, and it's been a really profound, very easy tool of essentially, if you're watching the YouTube video, you can see this, but on our podcast, it's bringing the hands above the head, and really feeling that energy above the head and in between your palms. And bringing it down and not touching your body, but as you're breathing in, bringing it down. And if you're able to envision the chakras opening up and are creating the intention of bringing that line down, you bring it all the way down to your root chakra, and then you bring it back up on, you said the exhale, is that correct? And in the video, they do it about 4 times. They have some other incredible videos and explanations of this. And so we'll put that in the description. As I was saying before, chakra clearings, I've found also breathwork ceremonies in the past have been very powerful for me.
Environmental cleansing. So I actually just went to a chiropractor appointment. They had never cleansed their chiropractor
Are you kidding me?
place.
Really?
Yeah. And they finally did it today, and it was amazing the difference it made with the workers and like everything like that. You can cleanse within by cleansing around, because if you think about it, you have energy around you that is pinning at you all the time, or you can cleanse it and it becomes harmonious with your chakra. So that's
beautiful.
Really important. Yeah.
You're also cleansing when you're doing that your astral planes.
Yes.
So if you've been in a particular way of thinking or a particular cycle that you're cleansing out, it's like those planes in your room, in your drive, like whatever, you're kind of resetting that, refreshing that, so that you can create essentially new neural pathways too. And then writing dancing for me is a powerful way to move energy, and usually I feel like I've been able to find more alignment when I've been able to move out some stagnancy.
Screaming too.
Screaming,
growling, letting that energy out through voice, like we were just talking about, your voice. If you're feeling some stuck ickiness, that is a great bomb ass way to do it. That's all I'm saying.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna end here, and I will add on that meditation clearing. So definitely keep an eye out for that as well on the YouTubes if we don't end up attaching this. And thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
And we honor you and thank you for being with us and sharing your light.
Thank you. Have a blessed day and learn many lessons today.
Happy retrograde!
Yay!
We will now begin the energy clearing session meditation. You are welcome to either find a seated position or to lie down while listening to this. If you're seated, find a comfortable position, maybe get a little bit of a taller posture, and then relax just a little bit. And then I invite you to bring your eyes to close and take a few breaths to calm yourself. And we ask our guides, we ask our angels and any other light beings from the divinity to support us in this meditation and this clearing of all that is ready to be cleared and cleansed for the highest and greatest good, for our own alignment and path, and also for the highest and greatest good of all humanity. We will now be entering a deeper state of consciousness. I'll be counting you down. 10, 9, 8, feeling comfortable and relaxed. 7, 6, more and more at peace. 5, 4, 3, getting deeper and deeper. 2, and 1. You are now at a deeper state of consciousness, healthier than before. We'll begin with connecting to our higher light, our higher consciousness. Roll your eyes up in your head and feel, sense, or see a light about 300 feet above you. And we make the intention as a soul of infinite light to connect with that light. And just the intention is perfect. You may feel, as you connect with this light, it pouring down like a beam of light. And it might feel like a liquid light. It might feel like warm sunshine. And feel as it enters the crown of your head. And we ask the light to fill our head and move down into our body. It fills our throat, heart, moves down our arms into our hands, shooting out our fingers, moves down through the stomach, and then down through the root into your legs, and down through the bottoms of your feet into the earth, to the center of the planet where it feels warm and happy. And you may feel as you connect with the center, the earth, where it's based in love and unity. You may feel as you connect almost like a little click. And again, you're doing it perfectly, just your intention is perfect here. Now see as that light bounces back up from the core into your feet, up your legs, up to your heart. You're now connected from above and below. Now feel in your heart a radiant sunshine of light, and allow that light to expand out bigger than your whole body. Take a deep breath into the heart. Now expand the light as big as the entire room that you're in. Now we expand and ask the light to get bigger than the city that we're located in. And you may see this as an aerial view looking above the city. Now we ask the light to expand greater than the country you're in. Now the continent. Now we stretch and expand the light across the entire world, encompassing every sentient being, bringing light and love across the earth. Now we expand the light as greater as the solar system. And feel the love and peace and calm here. The love that goes across the earth. This is your higher consciousness. Now we ask our guides to assist us as we now begin a chakra cleansing. We will begin with our star chakra, which is actually based at the base of our feet. This is our connection with the earth and the collective grids. And we see as we cleanse, clear, and transmute to light any density, any beliefs in lack, any ancestral programming, and anything that holds us back from our higher and greater alignment. We ask the light to cleanse, clear, and transmute this now across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. Now we move up to our root chakra, located at the base of the spine. And we see as the density and the congestion is being cleared away, any feelings, beliefs based in lack, fears of not being secure, and replaced with the feelings of safety, of comfort, of belonging. And now we move up to the sacral chakra, located just below the navel. And we ask the light to cleanse and clear out any congestion, any stagnation, and any religious programming, any blocks here from other family connections. We cleanse and clear and making it nice and clear. Now we move up to the solar plexus, located just below the sacrum. Cleansing and purging any congestion, any old density, feelings of unworthiness, any shame or guilt, any beliefs placed upon us that are no longer ours, any expectations from others. Cleansing and clearing, and setting the intention to release this now. We move up to the heart chakra. Again, cleansing out any denser frequencies, any connections with the lower grid of separation, of lack. And we now replace this with unconditional love, supported by the universe. Any feelings of heartbreak, grief. Cleanse, clear, transmute to light across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. And now we move up to our throat chakra. Anywhere we did not feel safe to express ourselves or felt that we would not be accepted. Anywhere we have not spoken our true nature, our truth, and instead spoke from the place of ego. Cleanse, clear, transmute to light across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. And we ask our soul to bring up anything else of the denser frequencies to be released now. And feel the light as it washes it away, clearing and cleansing and making each chakra new and clear. Now we move up to our third eye chakra, in between the on the forehead, in between the eyebrows. Clearing out and cleansing the clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, and any other psychic and or channels that we have put blocks up, either for ourselves or out of fear. Any congestion that we are done with, we remove this. And we ask the light and our guides to support us in clearing out any false imprints of truth that have been placed upon us that no longer serve us. Any other religious programming, any ancestral programs, any other beliefs that we've taken on that are not longer ours. Cleanse, clear, transmute to light across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. Now we move up to the crown chakra, opening once more the window to our greater divinity, to receiving guidance from our guides, removing any perceptions of right or wrong, removing any blocks purposely put there for ourselves that we chose to live with when we enter here as souls, or any blocks that were put there from others. Cleanse, clear, transmute to light across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. And any other limiting beliefs or programming brought to you from others, religious, media, societal, familial, that hold you back from living and expressing your true potential and connecting with your higher potential. We cleanse, clear, transmute to light across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. And now our guides, surrounded with light, are supporting us in cleansing and clearing any rips, tears in your aura. And feel the high vibrational essence that they emanate, filling these tears and holes, removing any parasites, entities, cleansing and clearing and transmuting to light across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. And anything else that your soul is bringing up or moving through you at this moment, cleanse, clear, transmute to light. For your soul is only going to bring up what you are done and ready with to remove. And any other grids based in the 3D of lack, separation, and the illusion that we are not whole within ourselves and that we are not love, cleanse, clear, transmute to light across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. And we ask the light to assist us in anchoring into the fifth dimension, into the unity templates of love, of oneness, of our greater infinite soul's knowing. Now, our guides have a gift for you. What is that gift? You may see an image of something. You may just feel an elated feeling. You may see a particular color of a particular vibration that they are sending you. What do you do with it? Allow your soul to show you. Receive this gift. And anywhere you feel any blocks or resistance from receiving, cleanse, clear, transmute to light across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. And now we are given new light, waves of light. Feel, sense the light, offering greater support and sending waves of light, cleansing and clearing anything else that you are done with and no longer need. Now a big red wave is being washed in and over you, symbolizing the root chakra. Now an orange wave, symbolizing your sacral chakra, assisting and helping to elevate you into your true creative power and knowing. Now a yellow wave of light. The universe is loving and supporting you. Green wave is being washed over your being, elevating you to the higher frequencies of love, of harmony, of joy. Now feel as a blue wave washes in over you. Again, cleansing out any other residue in the throat chakra. Now purple wave. And lastly, a gold wave. Standing for the colors of the chakras, assisting you in finding a higher and vibration into your alignment. Alignment with not only your body, but also your spirit, your soul's knowing. Now pink wave. And a platinum wave. Standing for the divine lights, cleansing and clearing, and assisting and helping to elevate you. Take a deep breath. And we will now be coming out of the meditation. I will count up to 5, and then I will make a sound with my fingers. 1, feeling happy and at peace. 2, feeling good, better than before. 3, feeling excited and joyful about the future. 4, and 5. We are now done with the meditation. I hope you've enjoyed this journey with me, as we've done an incredible job in cleansing and clearing what you are done with and no longer need. And what's beautiful about doing these cleanses and clearings is when you set the intention to cleanse and clear this, it's gone, it's removed from your field, and you're now elevated to a higher state of being. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.